Doing,
Happy sign? Thank you.
We're here.
the first item is acceptance of the minutes. And I haven't found a copy of the minutes yet.
Oh, they're right there.
There you go.
Okay, all right, that's what you shall receive.
You passed them to me without taking one?
I thought that was Will's.
Oh.
No,
okay.
I didn't pass that out yet.
Okay. Then are there any errors or omissions for the February 13th, 2023 minutes? Give me a second to look over and you guys. We got them a couple minutes ago, so. good. Yeah.
I'll move that we accept the minutes as presented.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are accepted. Okay. And,
That's how it's gonna stay there.
have you been to a meeting where Pat's presented?
No, but I feel, I'm gonna talk about. A little bit, I will present, I can talk a little bit about myself and, what I'm kind of thinking, okay.
Okay.
So my,
And
right by the menus. Table, you're gonna find a little couple pens, you can keep it and advertise.
And then.
It's much. I know, I agree. There's a couple things with little pencil, our lunch tallies. And if I'm doing a form, I might do it in pencil first if it's important, but. And my son loves pencils. Loves them. My dad, and they call them pop pencils, they call them pops, so they don't always have this.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, sure, so good morning, so I'm Nancy Maynard, I know I've met you. But everybody else, I'm the new director of human services for the town of Mansfield. I know. Happy to be here. So I previously was the director of human services for the town of Summers, and I actually chaired our senior advisory committee, so I'm fairly familiar with this type of process and what this group is charged with doing. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you and kind of, you know, your personalities and what your mission here is in Mansfield. We actually, all of our staff chair everything in summer, so it's kind of interesting to have, and then we have somebody from the community, the secretary, but it's already a different format, so.
Well, if you're feeling at all homesick, we could.
Yeah. Change. So I've been in municipal government for about 6 years in this type of position. And before that, I was a clinician, an outpatient clinician. Before that, I was executive director of a nonprofit up in Springfield. So super happy to be here. Already gotten to know some of the staff, super welcoming community. And so really, I'm just here to take it all in today. I don't have much to update you all on in the past 2 weeks, because that's all I've been here. But really, it's just been meeting staff, getting a feel for the town and for the programs that we provide. So,
did you want to have introduced everybody?
yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we go around the table and introduce yourself?
To the lady. Yeah, she don't know who you are.
I'm still in the lot. It's me too. And I live, I'm a neighbor of Woodles over the years.
Okay.
Other end of town.
Okay.
The forgotten end of town. Except for the developers.
Yeah.
I'm John Reason. I've been on the committee quite a while. I live in Linwood, which isn't that far from here.
Will Beagle, I live over in the old Jensen's. I've been on this committee for 20 years,
Wow.
something like that. And I had a permit already, and I've seen it on the.
He was chairman for years and years.
I'm Martina Wharton, I live up the hill on Juniper Hill Road, sometimes I walk down here, it's too cold today.
Yeah.
And I think I've done a commission, I'm a newbie sort, no, but about 10 years.
Oh, wow. I'm Laura Austin. I live down in the Hollow, at Mansfield and Passage Bridge Road, and I've been on the commission a year.
1 year? What is it? You don't know me. I'll say you touched on, you're all being very modest. One of the unique things about Mansfield is the community involvement and the way that people are invested in supporting our programs and helping to advocate. So this is a stellar group. They all do a lot more than they just said. We're real thankful to have them behind us.
Okay, not with us today are David Stevens,
Okay.
Nancy, Trader
Yeah.
Schmidt,
and Devin. And Devin's our normal secretary.
Okay.
Martina is the vice chair and is generally willing to fill in or making notes, which I really appreciate.
And Joanne, Susan.
yeah.
Nine total? Okay.
Which is why we were so happy with
Laura, Laura.
You ever had a woman like that, Laura?
So we're ready to, let's see, you've given your report, then. Not your senior center presentation.
Yes. Got it, and not the visits, but yes, I will update you. I do feel like it's been a little bit since I saw you, because I missed the last meeting. So just a couple of things staffing wise, I'll review a few things. We had hired our new kitchen assistant in November. Sandra Larson took the 19-hour position. She has been fabulous. In January, we launched a new meal program. We started doing our own homemade meals like our Fresh Fridays, but we started doing our Tuesdays and Thursdays. There has been a tremendous response to that. So we did both TVCCA and those lunches for January and February. What we were finding is that we're averaging about 30 people per day when we do our own, as opposed to 7, 12. So we've made some decisions about nutrition. In March, we decided to stop doing the TVCCA lunches. Those we were still doing on Wednesdays and Fridays. It was primarily me who was going in the kitchen and doing it. The reason we made the decision, I made the decision, is because of staffing. So with TVCCA, we have a number of parts of our nutrition program, right? Meals on Wheels is every day. That is Monday through Friday. We deliver meals Tuesday through Thursday. We go in there, coordinate them, heat the meals in the morning, and send them out with our volunteers. So that's usually like a 2-hour commitment each morning that I am overseeing. When we were doing the lunches, then we would move right into lunchtime. That would go until about 1:30. So for 2 days out of my week, I'm in the kitchen from 8 to 1:30. That was okay when we have the great team we have behind us, Mary, Jamal, and Jordan up front. We're now faced with Jordan's maternity leave, which we are super excited about. But we're gonna have one less body in the building. So we really felt as though we needed to put our resources into this new lunch program. Clearly, people are choosing this, homemade foods, fresh foods, as opposed to the TVCCA lunches. What we decided to do is really kind of pilot that for a couple of months. Put our energy into that, see how it goes, watch it, and then as staffing evolves, and hopefully we get somebody into that 30-hour position to oversee the rest of the kitchen, we can look at kind of building some other pieces back in. So, does that make sense? That's where we're at. There is definitely some disappointment over Wednesday and Friday lunches, the wood carvers on Wednesday.
Yes.
It was never a big crowd, but we have 8 to 10 people. And same thing with Fridays, we have our bowlers come in, so there is some disappointment that we're not doing those lunches. I think people are very understanding about it. But I want folks to know this isn't permanent, this is just where we're at. You know, we kind of limped along. This is March is month 7 since Sharon left.
Wow, that long.
It's been a long time of juggling 2 jobs and one of them being a commercial kitchen. So we're trying to put our resources into the place where we have the biggest return. That right now is those Maple Road lunches.
So I'll speak for wood carvers, you could do a Maple Road lunch on Wednesday.
We could. We are looking at that. And with Sandra's hours, she is 19 hours a week. We're trying to see if that's viable. I will share, we have an interview on Thursday for the nutrition coordinator position. We have had several set up, and we have not had a lot of success. Even just people no show, there's no show, no call. It's a weird market out there. What I'm hearing statewide from senior center directors is, the nutrition jobs, kitchen jobs, the driver positions, those are really hard to fill right now. They're really hard to fill. So the last pitch is, if you know anybody, it's 30 hours. There's a prorated benefits. I mean, we have so much fun. It will be a great fit for the right person. And all that stuff is still posted online. Okay. The other staffing piece is Aiden, our new driver. How many have met him? He's a great kid. And I say kid, he looks very young. So
There you
here's a more.
There you go.
Excuse him.
Looks like a
He does, he looks very young, but he is phenomenal, so he started in January. And we really had him shadow Dave very closely for the first 2 months. We're getting ready to send him out on his own. The intention of these 19 hours, this was through the ARPA funding, was for us to be able to increase transportation and hopefully prioritize medical in a different way than we've been able to. So I will keep you posted on that. We're in the very early stages of it. The first thing we did is we decided to increase shopping runs and errand runs to every week. So where it used to be every other Tuesday, we're gonna do that every week now. We want input. There are ideas, suggestions out there about what we could do in terms of transportation to serve people better. Please don't hesitate to talk to me, talk to Jamel. Okay, all right. So I told you Jordan is due March 31st. She's got a couple of weeks. Everybody will be stunned if she makes it that.
Oh, it's me. I was out there, I saw her, I said, oh my God.
But that is coming. She'll be out for about 12 weeks. She is going to be missed sorely because she is the jack of all trades.
Absolutely.
She is the one that just kind of zips around and takes care of stuff. We will be fine. We've got a good plan. Leslie up front has offered to pitch in and help with some of those tasks. And between Mary and I will be covering the rest. And like I said, we're super hopeful that we can get that nutrition coordinator position filled. Once we do, that changes everything. And we can really start moving forward on those goals. All right. Questions on any of that so far? That's a lot.
In the cobwebs of my mind,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a statement, probably at your fingertips. That said something about the meal plan that. I think like every day or it's no longer applicable.
That's true.
So if you would. Look at that and either make it currently active or better yet, put a kind of vague statement that gives you some flexibility.
I will, and I have the most current, so I can just change it and send it into IT, right?
The most current is the one I sent it to you not that long ago.
All right. Thank you,
Yeah.
that's a good reminder. Meal note, okay, and we are, we are including that, there's an update in the newsletter, so we're keeping people posted on what we're doing. Cost wise, I will share with you this, we decided, so TVCCA, one of the real benefits of that program, it's a suggested donation. So it's $3 per meal, we don't collect the money, that means someone comes in, they get a penny in their pocket, they have a hot meal, there's no questions asked. That's important, or meal setting. When we made the transition to not doing those lunches, that was my biggest concern, is that this was going to be a financial problem for somebody or a barrier, and we weren't going to know. Part of what I did to combat that was we came in at $5 a meal. It's very inexpensive. It's very inexpensive. We are not, coming out even. What Pat and I talked about was that for this pilot period, we really wanted to invite people in to come try it see what it's like, and hopefully get invested in the program. We have a very healthy cafe budget. We had about $12,000 left in our cafe account after we opened it. Our intention was to use that to help supplement this pilot program. If we make it permanent and we go forward, we may look at that. It may need to go to 7. Price of groceries is outrageous right now. We're including milk and a dessert and coffee, all those pieces add up. But we're kind of, again, being very open, telling people that, talking to people about that, and we'll put any updates in the newsletter as we make changes. All right, and if you haven't come for lunch, come for lunch. They're so good. They're so good, and it really is just, it's awesome to have the dining room full. It really is, it feels a lot of fun. Yeah,
Meals on Wheels,
yes,
do your volunteers drive their own vehicles?
one does, the rest opt to use the town car,
Okay,
so they have the option.
I don't know whether the issue is speeding in Rolling Hills. There is a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit.
Yeah.
I have seen 1 or 2 vehicles coming through very fast that looked, a private car, that looked like it was delivering meals. And I pay particular attention because I live between 2 of the most dangerous spots in Rolling Hills.
Yeah.
So if I'm near a window, I'm watching the traffic.
Right.
I don't know if anybody is, if you could just mention if you're taking deliveries to Rolling Hills, that there is a speed limit. There are 2 very blind spots out there. And there are always people walking.
Yeah, it's true. I will.
Almost always. Maybe not tomorrow.
In addition to that, one of the things that we have been working on the last couple months too, Mary has really increased our evening programming. So we used to do about 1 a month, it's like a movie night. She's really up to doing between 3 and 5 a month, a Family Feud as an example. She's doing a salts workshop this coming Monday. There are some new fun things that are starting at 4. So that's another thing we're kind of throwing out there. The paint nights has been a lot of fun. Throwing it out there to see kind of what that response is. I think going forward, adding some more diverse programming around hours that works for other people, people that have other things, commitments, volunteering during the day, is certainly one of our goals. So there's been a great response so far, and we'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, just, I know we're gonna meet about nutrition, but just so I don't forget. So is the intention to bring back the TVCCA meals once you, no,
So that's the question.
okay,
That's the question I think as a community we need to evaluate.
okay.
There are lots of pros and cons to both.
Mhm.
And I could certainly write, it would be a very long, kind of hour-long conversation going through that. I would say my sense is that folks would prefer that we went forward with more homemade meals.
I agree.
That would be my sense.
And are the Meals on Wheels meals TVCCA or are we?
Correct. Yes.
They are
TVCCA
TVCCA,
does
we stay with them for Meals on Wheels. Okay.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think Meals on Wheels is an essential program. There are some pieces to that you and I will need to talk about. When they had a paid site server here, that person was doing that program. They no longer have that. They no longer contribute anything to that salary. There are a lot of sites that don't require or have as much time involved. And that's one of the pieces we'll need to really talk with them. Most sites have paid drivers. Whereas each month for us, we are juggling a team of 10 who is phenomenal, but there's always 2 or 3 doctor's appointments or days or things that, so we're kind of always scrambling to make sure that we have those days. So yeah, it's its own little thing. But yes, I think we would stay. I think taking on your own home delivered meal program, which some centers do, Duxbury does a phenomenal job, is really like next level.
Yeah.
When we were functioning on all cylinders, it was me, Sharon, and Sky, and we launched that cafe. We had TVCCA lunches Monday through Friday. We did deliveries Monday through Friday. And we opened the cafe and had that 5 days a week for snacks and coffee and 2 days a week for homemade lunches. So that was all cylinders. It will depend how we want to go forward. All right, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question. So for those people who were doing TVCCA, and so what happens when the program is gone, and there are people that have no funds? Like, is there somewhere people can get the money or a voucher or something to eat?
To pay for the
Yeah,
meals here.
yeah,
So certainly one of the things that I always publicize to anybody that I have that concern about is that I don't ever want cost to be a barrier comes. So there's that whole side. On my end. The other piece that we try to really publicize, and this comes up of course a lot, is there is a fee waiver program in town. So any resident can apply to that to have a reduced cost for programs here, programs at community centers. So we would really encourage people to go there. If this were something we continued with and we addressed pricing and say that price went up, I think there's very creative ways that we could do fund development around having a pool of money that would support that as well. For sure. So I think that there's really, that's something we want to keep thinking about, Martina. That's a great question, but I think there's some creative ways we can handle it. All right. Upcoming, I mentioned the interview, we have St. Patrick's Wednesday, so cross your fingers that tomorrow's gonna be fine and we're gonna. Happens one of our bigger annual events. Coming up in April, we're gonna do volunteer appreciation, so put a little note on your calendar for April 20th. Check that, it's a Thursday, it will be daytime, but you'll be getting invitations to that soon, that's always a really, really fun event, yes, April 20th. And then in May, we are looking at, do you remember when we used to do the art show? And we would invite everybody in to kind of display their talents, and we had a whole open house thing. It hasn't been since prior to COVID. We're gonna bring that back. May is Older Americans Month. It's a great way for us to showcase what we do, what our, like how talented folks in our community are. So we're looking at doing that. I want to say it's May 24th, but we'll be posted on that. That's a good opportunity for anyone who's involved with us to have a table and talk about what you do here. So if a couple of members from the commission wanted to talk to folks, kind of advocate, and get folks who are interested in what we're doing to support, we would be open to that as well. Okay. Couple of new things, you see the ping pong table? I know. So budgetarily, we are in a really, really good position. The town council did add about $10,000 into our program budget annually. We also know that we will be getting an allocation from the state at some point that will support programming. So we have been looking at what can we replace, what can we spend some money on. The game time was Mary's idea. And we have now a seat, actually it came from Irv Fallon, because he's always a troublemaker. But it got prompted by seated volleyball. So we have a seated volleyball net and a ping pong table. What we're really trying to do is encourage activity that can be indoors at all ages, no cost whatsoever. We do it every Monday and kind of rotate the activities. So I think that's an exciting thing. We also have UConn back, and they're going to do some craft programs and workshops over the next couple of months. So we're real happy to have them on board as well. I think that's all I got before we launch into the others. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Any others? All right.
Okay. So let's see, where are we at?
Me.
Well,
No, yeah, WRTD, we didn't have a meeting last month. I don't know why. I just got an email that said the meeting been canceled, so. I have no idea what's going on. Okay.
Well, what's that acronym?
WRTD is the Wyndham Regional Transit District. All the buses, dial ride.
Okay.
For some reason, this commission decided that I should be on the board of directors. And as they all know, I've been having a very rough time with them. People down there, they don't seem to be people orientated. They seem to want to worship the god Yukon. Okay, and I just, I got a very sour taste in my mouth from other people. So whether I stay on or not, I've already talked to Ryan about it. And we'll see what's going on, because I did actually be nowhere now. No. That's just a waste of my time. Okay. Yeah.
having said that, Williams been instrumental in several changes, bus routes, the bus stop, so
I try.
take him with the grain of salt.
But as far as Rolling Hills is concerned, it's still, I mean, it's just a massive inundation of mobile home now, you know. I gotta tell you what happened. Anyway, yeah, they're just coming in by the truckloads. I mean, there's more new houses in here, which is nice because, you know, for a long time, we had a very low, there were so many empty spots in there, it was terrible, okay? And they're starting to fill them up. They're finally starting to get workers over there because they come in two pieces. And they get the workers in there, they have to put it together and everything else. My concern is selling them with the market value is today. People who come there are the ones that have houses that they want to sell, so they get the money so they can come in here, down payments. And I just don't see right now where we're gonna be doing a lot of selling, that's unless the market changes, you know. So, yeah, that's why we also have our St. Patrick's Day dinner coming up. But it's not the same time as hers, but yeah, that's another thing. Outside of that, we did have a walking campaign for a heart program. The new people who took over, she's energetic, she wants to get things done. She said for heart, we're gonna walk every day at 1 o'clock in the clubhouse and just make the circle, which is about a mile and whatever. So we've been doing that and she wants to keep it going after that, but the weather is just, you know, but we'll see what happens. So, yeah, I'm very. Yeah, she's gonna be good. I think we're gonna do a lot of good things over there that we haven't done before. Okay.
Okay, we've been having a lot of trouble getting representatives from the various senior housing units. Sometime in the future, we'll have to visit that as to either how we're gonna fix it or whether we're just gonna abandon the reports. But Martina, do you have anything that you can add off the cuff or?
Yeah, I'm looking for it, well,
Just one thing. I really don't want to, I really don't want to do this report. I want somebody else to do it from over here. And I tried to get somebody that absolutely no interest in policy. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, that's okay. Mary regrets that she can't be here, because I had the minutes, so for Juniper Hill Village, Mary doesn't have a computer right now, and it's hard, she thought it was going inclement weather, she can't come down. In the wheelchair, so she regrets she can't be here. However, we did have a representative from WRTD finally come.
Really? Oh, my God. Jesus. Miracles will never be.
A wonderful person, she talked about the program. There are lots of questions because sometimes people can't read, can't figure it out. And there are people who don't have smartphones, so she gave information about that. And her report, they will report on her on at our next meeting. And we found out that the reason our route,
Yeah.
electronic route does not work is because sometimes our network goes out and that blows the whole system. So they did look at that, some looked at it, and it was really their fault.
Okay, well. All right, I'll have to go to the next meeting.
Got to draw, but she was very. They were very, very good, with very informative, good answer. And I forgot her name, woman who's from Texas,
Oh, Linda.
Linda.
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah, she's the director of there. She's, yeah.
So
Was
the
there a
turnout,
turnout?
turnout was great, yeah, because there are younger seniors who use the bus system, and someone else had said, you know, I tried, but then she called and someone made the route. So the other thing is they are going to come up with a new brochure that they hope will be easier for people to follow.
Okay.
That's what they say.
Yeah, it's, you know, unless you know, I mean, I've traveled all over the United States and Judy and I have used bus routes. A lot of places, Reno, Las Vegas and everything else. And then people see they have got it down. They know exactly what's going on and they know what's doing, okay? this one seems to lack a little finesse as far as, doing things like
It's
that.
confusing.
But yes, but I just thought of something, the fair are going back into effect April 1st.
Yes,
No more free bus rides.
Yeah.
Okay,
unless you're a senior.
right, I shouldn't say, I was gonna say that. I'm taking my. Yeah,
Yes.
everybody else has, because the governor said everybody rides free for any transit in the state of Connecticut. That's coming to an end, next month. Okay, so they're going back to the little tickets that you can buy. And so on and so forth.
And she also said they're going to try and make transfers easier. That's, I've never been on the bus to transfer, so.
Well, I guess, like I tried to tell them, my whole thing is. The bus route, as far as I'm concerned, is great. Okay, they go around, they stop at all these places, a person can actually go anywhere they want in Willimantic, or they can go to Walmart, they can go any place they want with the bus. I have no problem with that. ADA, I have no problem with that because they go right to the house, they pick these people up. It's that dial-a-ride. Okay, the only thing I get from them is you're not dependable. That's the biggest problem. They are not dependable. So that's, I tried to change that. I tried to get some wording in there. I don't know if you, Allison, they have scripts. Which somebody can go in and say, I want you to pick me up 8 o'clock in the morning, bring me to work, come back in the afternoon, bring me to work, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. To me, this is all they're doing. I tried 6 months to get a report about how much is going on here in Mansfield.
Yeah.
It took me 6 months and a threat in order to get that report.
What, so in summers, we ran the Dial Ride program, so, like through our senior center, so. What towns are we a part of with the Dial Ride?
Oh, that's Chaplin, Willimantic, Providence, Ashford, I mean, all over the place, okay? And,
Gives-
I don't blame these
gives
people.
them-
I don't blame these people for not doing it. Okay? We had a really bad thing where the professors at UConn were tying up 2 dial-a-ride buses in the morning, riding back and forth to work. Okay? And I tried to get that straightened out. It took me, the thing that I tried to get done, I gave to the board of directors, the chairman, all right? She didn't do anything about it. I had a big fight with them on this. Okay? And they still have not, it's just some changes in the script program that will kill the ones that are not being used and so on and so forth. And it's just, I'm just, as you well know, that these people know, I'm just very disgusted with the people. As far as dial-a-ride is concerned, the bus routes, ADA, fine, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I told Ryan, what I want to do is, I told him, I said, what I want you to do is, I want you to take the dial-a-ride budget. I said, I want you to cut it in half. You half to her, and they can have the rest. Whether they'll happen, I doubt it, but that was just my suggestion.
So continuing with.
I'm sorry. I have a tendency to this. I know. I'm sorry. All right, good, not me, bad.
Also, the residents group heard, David Palmer had spoken to Bill Thorne about the cycle program. And people were very interested because there are people you could cycle around where we live if people would slow down. So people are looking forward to that and seeing what the outcome is going to cycle program is going to be. The other thing is there's some capital improvements that the executive committee for the residents group will go to the board and ask for capital improvements. So it's moving along and hopefully good weather, Mary will be down here.
Okay.
Now, is there somebody that can reboot that tracking system?
We are looking for someone to do that. It goes on for a while and then I don't know what happened and it goes off, so. They're gonna try and find.
Well, like I said, if it's, you know, if it's not, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
All I can do is just have them go down and take a look.
Yeah, no, it's our system.
Okay.
You need a Jordan.
Yeah. We do, we need a Jordan.
Okay. We're to old business. There's a list of senior centers that we had proposed to consider. That item is tabled until April, but your homework is take a look at that list. And in April, come with a suggestion of which of those senior centers we ought to focus on.
It's a nice concise list for you too. The websites are all very informative, so I would go on to each one, take a look around. There are some that we've pulled into one day in the past, so we can look at kind of organizing it that way as well. If you have any questions about any of them as you're going through, feel free to help.
We went to one already.
Yes, you guys had your window this time.
Okay, I'm gonna propose that we move Sarah's presentation to the last item under old business. And so you have the latest revision of the At Your Fingertips brochure I sent out this morning. Sarah's gonna take a quick look at that. Make any changes relative to senior center meals that are needed, and cobwebs, maybe there is none. And then post it, I guess.
Okay,
We're to
and
that
send it
point.
right on to IT, I will do that.
And I will also then send it to the town council.
Great job.
Years ago, the board commission created a sort of brochure. It's now online, semi-brochure form. And we did an update about 2 years ago. And the thought was people would send us changes, but it didn't happen that way. And so we've just completed, we divvied up pieces of it and everybody looked to make sure the information is current.
Great.
And I'll get you, well, actually, you can just go on the website as soon as Sarah posts it.
Great.
So that takes care of that one. Will, you want to go next under the
Okay. We had a very interesting meeting. Last meeting at the Affordable Housing Committee. And,
did you
it was,
any of the authority?
I think you already have that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, what you have is you have a report from Rebecca Fields, who is the director of Mansfield's Housing Authority. Okay, she gave a very, very impressive reading of this, okay? They have, I was more interested in Rights Way than I was on anything else, but Rights Way has 40 units designed for moderate income people. And from what she told me, there's a 50-50 split over there between seniors and disabled people. Okay, you must be 62 years of age or disabled to receive Social Security disability in order to qualify to be there. Maximum income for one person is 62,600. And I don't know how come you're gonna make 471,000, I think that's a typo. Okay, 47,150 for two people. There are currently 39 people on the waiting list. The average turnover is 6 units per year. And she was asked at the end of her, presentation, she said, what is the most, what is the biggest need in the town of Mansfield? And she just looked at everybody and she says, senior housing. Okay, so, that's coming from her, that is a very good plus for us, okay? One of the things. Okay, I'm trying to get the word I want. I was gonna quit that. Meeting. Because the first two meetings that we had. Everybody was talking about was. UConn assistant professors and their families need affordable housing. UConn students need, affordable housing. And I'm saying to myself, what am I doing here? If their goal is to get at, UConn student housing, well, then, I mean, what am I doing here? So I wrote a letter of resignation and I sent it to the chairman. She called me on the phone. And she said, I gotta talk to you. It's okay. So when I told her what the way I was, because I had sent her an email and telling her that I'm interested or senior housing ministers. When I told her the reason for that, she said, oh my God, Will, you are so wrong. Okay, and I said, well, she said, okay, come to the next meeting. Give you a little presentation, she says, and decide whether you really want to get off this committee. I said, okay. So I went over there and I told him about some of the experiences that I had with people who needed housing, couldn't get it, had to go out of town because Mansfield had none, blah, blah, blah. I used your thing with the woman who, had to go out of state to get it. I told them about that one, no. Okay, and so then I says, one of the things that the Commission on Aging has done is we have redefined the same senior housing. I said, we now prefer to call it, we prefer to call it age restricted housing. And I said, we think that gives it a better definition instead of just saying senior housing. I says, and I would very much like to have this committee use that term. And they did, and we've been using it. So I think we got a strong threshold in that. I think it's going to eventually get into every aspect of this government. It's going to be called, yeah. Okay. Okay, one of the other things they increased the number of units for like this one down here who has 400, I'm going to use round numbers, 400 units, they had 10, so we're supposed to get 40 units. The town has increased it to 15%. I think that's statewide. Yes, yeah, all the new units are being built, 15% now have to be affordable, where it was 10 before. Okay, so we made inroads as that is concerned too. Okay, and one of the things that I asked him, I says, what is the possibility of taking 1 or 2% of these 40 units, say 4 or whatever, okay, and have them allocated just for age restricted housing? And he says, that's what I do. Yeah. So hopefully we can get that. It's not what we want them all, but that's beside the point. But at least we're going to get an inroad into this, okay? These people here on this committee are just, they're fantastic. Okay, I walk in there and the whole aura about the place is brains. I'm telling you, I am very humbled when I walk in that room because, like I said, I'm not a very educated man. Okay, I just tell it like it is, as you all know. And these people are just they're phenomenal. They really are. And I think we're really going to get some place with these people. I really do. So I decided to stay. Okay.
Thank you.
So, okay, here's the thing now. I would like for this commission to make a commitment to these people. Okay, I would like either I will go up and tell them that we did this. John, you could come to a meeting under there and tell them that you're making a commitment to this community. That if they need anything, writing letters to the town council, go to town council meetings. Okay, getting involved with this, okay. I think that this committee has to be back of them 100%. Okay, now, I'm gonna say it again, I know I said it before. I said, but if you guys commit to this. And we have a thing that we have supposed to be to. And I turn around and none of you people are there. Okay, like you did before. I'm gonna jump all over you. So if you're gonna make that commitment. You better stick to that commitment. If they need us, we're gonna go and do it. Okay, I said my piece.
So meetings are open to everyone. When's the next
Yes.
meeting? When's the next meeting?
Sorry you asked. Hang on to that. There, here's a list of the Affordable Housing Commission meetings. I don't know if you want to make copies and give it to everybody, but that's what they are. So I would strongly recommend that you, John, I would recommend that you, as the chairman, okay, come to the meeting and under, they have a guest speakers or whatever, that you can just get up there and let them be known that we are complying them 100%.
Question,
Yeah.
do we know how many seniors are currently at Wright's Way or any of these other housing units?
No, it's just, well, they got 40 units and 50-50, so 20 seniors and 20 disability.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, no, she gave a very, Allison, she gave a very good presentation on it. That's why I brought it over here for you guys. It includes, what the hell? Suction here. Yeah, Section 8 housing. I just thought. Remember when they put out the thing in the paper, they wanted all these names. Okay, and we thought it was for the new building over here and so on and so forth. What it ended up being, it was for Section 8 housing. Okay, they needed people to apply for Section 8 housing so that they could, she gave a very good report on that too. I think I sent them.
Okay, at this point, I wonder. Martina, you're passionate about housing. If you could write a sort of generalized letter from the commission indicating that we're in support of the Affordable Housing Committee group. At this point, we can't be very specific, but it can be a first step.
Write it and send everyone a draft.
Okay,
You can look it over.
yep, that would be good. Thank you.
So I would like to do this for the next meeting, which is
What is it?
April 6th.
April 6th. Like I said, I mean, I can read the letter, you can come, John, but I think it would be better coming from you as the chairman of this commission. Okay.
Okay, so hopefully we'll have a draft letter that we can work on and approve and get ready for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. 2 months ago, Sarah came back and let slip that she had attended a very good seminar. And also volunteered to update us on what was presented at the seminar. She had to miss last meeting, so we're saving the rest of the spot for Sarah.
Well, thank you. I do apologize for the delay. But yes, I was fortunate enough to go to the Massachusetts Council on Aging's Fall Conference this year. That is just a phenomenal resource for our local senior center directors. It's all the directors from a pretty wide range of states, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. It's a chance to get together and really share best practices, talk about newer things that are happening. But also there are classes throughout the entire 3-day conference. So you get to pick and choose what works for you, what you're interested in. This was our first year back prior to since COVID. So it was even more so significant because COVID changed everything for senior centers, right? There's a lot of really, really good discussion on how to really take this moment where there was a different spotlight put on senior centers and use it to our best ability. And we're seeing a lot of things come from that, right? This funding that is coming through the state of Connecticut is an absolute direct result of that. So I was really, really thankful to get to go this year. I always find it one of the most useful professional development opportunities that we have, but this year even more so. One of the seminars that I chose was called Designing Adult Community Centers. It was a 2-day seminar, so you really. This was the binder that you had to sign your life away in order to get. I wanted to bring it to you, so I'm gonna pass this out. This is the contact information of the man who did the presenting. He is an architect. He has done a number of senior centers, a number of them that you will recognize. There's pictures of all of them in here. I am not in any way recommending that we go with a different architect or that this is the man that this town should choose. I really wanted to share this with you as a resource as we start going down this road of what are the things we need to think about. You know, what are the things we need in our pocket as these conversations start to happen? We've been talking about this for 9 years. And longer. So this has been an ongoing conversation. I don't feel like I'm new to it. I felt like there was a lot here that I hadn't thought about. So I really, really did think it was very useful. So we pass these out. What this is his contact information. They're out of New Hampshire. There's a website. They do a really, really good job highlighting their work on websites. This is a man who does, or a firm that does really specialize in senior centers. And I think that was the key for me. So what I'm not going to go through the whole thing, that would take way too long. I could never condense it into this. But what I wanted to offer, I would prefer that this doesn't leave the building. But what I wanted to offer is come on in for an hour with a notebook, have a cup of coffee, sit down with it, look through it, read through it. It's really easy to go through, and he puts a lot of humor. There's a lot of pictures. Anytime, email me if you would like to take advantage of that and come in and use the book. Okay. What it does is really go through all of the things you need to be thinking about and all of the different stages. The first one that it's kind of broken into sections. So one of the ones that stuck out at me right away, building your committee, right? Finding the right people to be on your building committee so that you can really start to establish and garner community support for your project. So there's a section on that. Okay, the next section is finding your site. Obviously, that's super technical. There's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of talk in town. There are a lot of reasons why this site is challenging. The community center site is challenging. So again, this would be sort of a list of questions we would want to start asking now, you know, as they're looking at sites. Another piece that really stuck out at me was the way he talked about design that specifically supports and encourages active living for older adults. So there are a number of things that can be put into buildings that look like design elements that are specifically so that older adults can move more freely, comfortably, and safely through the building. One of them he talked about was wayfinding. So what does this hallway look like to you? Can you see it?
Dark and crowded.
Yeah. Does it look like a hospital,
Yeah.
a nursing home? One of the things he talked about was called wayfinding. Wayfinding is using design elements like wainscoting down a wall.
Okay,
That is something people can use to touch if they need to, but also visually guides your eye in a different way. Using flooring patterns to guide your eye and to help guide the traffic through the building. They talked about bathrooms. There's been a little kerfuffle in town about bathrooms lately. One of the things he talked about with bathrooms is making sure that you have companion bathrooms, that if somebody.
Yeah.
Bathrooms that are big enough so that if somebody needs an. They can go in. So those were just a lot of things that I started thinking, oh, you know what, these are the questions you wanna ask way ahead of time. I think that's really, you know, the highlights of what it is. He closed out by really giving us examples. East Hartford is in here.
I was expecting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did Duxbury. So these are recent projects, which again, I think could be a resource. I'm sure there's information from the people at some of these centers. Ooh, I wish we'd done it this way, or oh, this went really well for us. Ooh, this is something we should think about. Okay, so that's really what I wanted to share, and again, to make this available to you anytime. I mean, I can be really, come on in, grab it off my desk, sit for an hour or whatever, take your notes, and welcome to do that. Okay.
Fantastic.
That was
Thank
good.
you.
Good, thank you. Superintendent.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you all. It's time to be-
Next month.
Yeah.
I've been concerned for a long time that the impression I get from the town council
I know, it's new. There we go, it's just, yeah, got it. It's a little-
is that they feel that a good architect is fine. They can design something okay for seniors. And thinking that their focus is on the town hall and stick a layer in there that's senior center. And yes, it would be more convenient for that architect to design that layer. But I really think they should get a consultation from somebody who deals specifically with senior center.
It was I texted Jordan and Mary because I was so excited about it. It was the first time that I did hear somebody speak about building from a very specific senior experience. I mean, that's their expertise. That's what they really focus on. And I was just, I was blown away. It was like, wow, what a difference that could make, having that information on our side.
What do you think to accomplish that?
I got a suggestion. Let's take this piece of paper. And let's send it to every councilman. Mayor, everybody, let's send it to them and say, take a look at this, people. This is what we should have. If you need the book, go over and talk to Sarah and have them look at it. That's what I would do. Listen, here, this. What do you think?
That's a good idea.
Or have them get the book or whatever, but let's, you know, we keep talking about this letter. Okay, I'm up to here with this letter. Okay, either we write it or we don't. I'm sick and tired of coming here every meeting and talking about a letter. All right, I personally, I'll tell you right now, I personally cannot write, I cannot express myself in writing, I have to talk. Okay, that's me. All right, some people are very good at expressing themselves with letters. Not teeth. I'm serious, okay, all right, we need somebody with that expertise to make a letter, and I don't care if it's two, or a period, or a comma, or an exclamation point, I don't care. Okay, that it has to be all in a row, it has to be a letter, it has to come from the heart, it can't be all structured. Get a letter out to them, put it in an email, send them all an email. Send a letter to the town council. Okay, let's just get it done, people, let's just do it. Let's not just sit here talking about it. I said.
what if we proposed to the town council that they set up a joint meeting with this architect
Fine.
and the Commission on Aging for a presentation similar to what you had, and if they were involved in maybe paying for transportation or whatever it would take to get them there, that's kind of a buy-in on their point.
Absolutely. People, let's just do something, something,
That would be great.
yeah,
From an expert's mouth.
please, I don't, and please, I don't want this to go on for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, okay? This is something that has to be done now. These people that now, we need this done now.
I'm not sure where it stands. Where does the other proposal stand? Where was that left? Whereas they had kind of made this proposal to add on to the community center. You know what the next steps in that are?
From what I understand, it just dropped. I didn't hear anything from our illustrious mayor or anybody else as to what they're gonna be doing, okay? I did find out something that, she, I don't know how she. When we were at that meeting, she blindsided me with this ADU thing.
Last time. we
Assisted
met,
dwelling units.
I went through the meeting.
It's a proposal from the housing committee. That they call them ADUs, it's part of affordable housing. That you would build one on your property, your mother-in-law, or your father-in-law, it's called,
Adults.
yeah, adult, ADU, adult. I got a whole book on it, okay. And she, she blindsided us with that because she knew about it and she knew we didn't do it. I'll tell you, I am so pissed at her for what she did at that meeting, it's just. Okay, it's just like, what she did is she just cut her legs right off. Right at that meeting, but the last thing she said, right there. In other words, we don't think nothing of you. That's the impression I got. Okay, and I'm telling you, you're listening?
Laura, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Last month when we met, that question came up as it has, and so I started going into the meeting minutes that are online. Because that's what we were saying is you can get to them, and I had to go back to November to talk about, to see senior center was discussed.
Yeah.
So they're not talking about it
No.
for any purpose that we can see. That's quite a lot.
So, I mean, yeah, listen, I mean, I think the time of being nice. Being, I think now is the time to be firm. Now is the time to send this letter, a good firm letter. Suggesting that, we start doing something about this.
I think the timing is good. The school is about to open. They're gonna have these other ones that there are conversations happening about what to do with those schools.
Yeah.
Now would be a good time to be part of the conversation. We do want to be sensitive. There is obviously a relationship with an architect in town. We are not saying, this is not something we would support. Just that there are certain things very specific to senior design that we want to make sure are part of the process. And here's a resource that we found that we want to share.
I think we should present it as just checking all the options, especially the ones that are specific to our needs.
The other thing I'll say is that, they were doing the community center master plan right now. Have you heard about that?
I heard about that.
So they've had a consultant coming in, they're looking at the overall master plan for the community center. They have been hosting information sessions, listening sessions, where they're inviting the public to come in and give their opinion. If the proposal with the addition on the community center or town hall goes forward, those listening sessions will be another opportunity we wouldn't want to miss. To go in there as a group, ask some questions and make your voices heard through the avenues that they are
offering. You know what I mean? That makes sense. So I think we should keep an eye on that process as well. That's probably where Allison is gonna be a great benefit, because she's gonna be able to provide that link. You know, between Ryan and the council and what's being said and talked about us.
And going back to Ryan, I believe he had said that the architect that did the proposal and looked at all the buildings in the town was not necessarily the architect that they would use going forward. So do we know where that stands? Like, okay, so this will be good, so that sending it to everyone.
Yes, this is a highly recommended person to do this. Okay,
Given my history of dropping the ball, I hesitate to say, but how about if I look at this and see if I can come up with a proposal from the committee to the town council as to how we could take a next step.
Well, that sounds like a question, but so we don't want to ask a question, we want to say, this is what we would like to have for the next step.
this is
Maybe
what,
if we do
this is
that.
what we would like you to take a long, hard look at. Before you know. And if you need me to help you, John, I'll help.
Okay,
Okay,
if you don't get anything in a week and a half, send me an email. and say,
I'm talking about tomorrow morning. You guys are like get done in a week.
That's a homework assignment, John.
I want to work assignment, John, but it's not for the next meeting either. Yeah, whatever, just, yeah, I guess the only thing I can say to you, John, is just do it. Okay,
Okay, so
Okay, so it will be a letter, and in the letter you will say.
That's
Yeah, that's the
yes,
one, that's the
yeah,
one.
right,
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
That's
that's-
okay.
I look, yeah, I think that'll. So the letter will be. Proposal, not a proposal, asking them to look at this.
it will be a proposed letter.
I
And
will
I'll send out to the whole group.
what I would say is, John is gonna write up a proposal, we're not gonna write up a letter, we're gonna.
Right, proposal.
Okay, so the letter has been tabled.
Good.
Until John gets a proposal, we decide, maybe to send another letter.
And this
Okay.
is focused on senior center, it's not
Tomorrow plan.
housing.
Right, this is focused, this is on senior center, it's nothing to do with affordable housing.
Be the 2020.
Yeah, oh.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's what we're playing, yeah. Yeah, and here it is, 2023, it's still done.
In town, there is, yes, I believe the downtown is looking at. Doing some different levels of signage around downtown.
Yes, I heard that.
They want to include representative citizen feedback on the Mansfield Tomorrow plan. Fiscally sound.
That's not a new plan, is it?
No,
No, that's.
but we got the January to July engagement. So we're right in the middle of that and planning and report writing. Let's see what else.
Yeah.
See, the trouble is we never get invited to the wedding.
Well, I was looking for the actual date.
They just, and then,
But we could go as individuals, not representing the council.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Probably be more impactful.
Yeah, that's what I would. yeah, Be a louder voice if I don't have to represent the commission.
Know what you mean?
it's all else. Okay.
Further business.
Actually, this shows community engagement starting in April. So maybe they haven't started their listening sessions yet.
You know, they did one at the middle school.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mistaken, maybe it was something else.
Your education and training.
Okay, we have no new business for this meeting. And no members of the public. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Absolutely.
Second,
All those in favor?
amen.
There it is.
All right,
Good meeting you.
thanks, folks.